Counselor Accents Podcast. Two school counselors who love their jobs. Oh, and they happen to have Southern accents too. Bless their hearts.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Kim Crumley.
And I'm Laura Rancourt.
And welcome to Counselor Accents. So we have a special guest with us today. Laura, do you want to talk to us about how you found our special guest and who she is?
Sure. This is Meredith Newlin, and she and I are in a group together on Facebook, and I needed somebody to kind of help walk us through this. I just keep calling it uncharted waters, where we are all trying to work from home and figure out what tools are out there. It's like our job changed across the nation within hours. One day I'm sitting in an office and the next day I'm at home, still trying to figure out what are we supposed to do? And so I reached out and said, hey, who can help school counselors who have very little technology knowledge of tools available? Who can help walk us through that? And Meredith said, I can. So that's how she ended up here. So Meredith, I'm going to toss it to you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
It's so great to be here with you both. Thank you so much for inviting me on your wonderful podcast. And I'm such a fan of school counselors, and it's an honor to be here talking to you all today. Your work is so crucial, so important, and I'm just really excited to share just a little bit of hope and help and guidance and encouragement for you all today. And I'm just grateful to you for everything you do. So thanks for having me on.
Well, we're excited to hear from you, and thank you for the kind words.
Yeah.
So you are out in Colorado, but you're a Southern girl at heart.
Yes, totally. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina girl. And I've been teaching. This is my 15th year teaching, and my passion is teaching. I love teaching, but after I had kids, everything changed. I thought I knew what I was doing as a teacher, and then I had kids.
Yeah.
And I started to sort of question whether or not I could still be a great teacher or a good teacher and a good mom. And my passion and my excitement for my job and my confidence, it all started to kind of wane. And I started to experience the first signs of burnout. And I started realizing that I was going to have to get out of this if I really wanted to keep that passion. And so, long story short, I wrote a book, and it was a book of sort of encouragement for new teachers and veteran teachers, how to keep the passion, how to keep the joy even through the headaches and the heartaches of the job. And the book is called Captured Fireflies, and that has kind of morphed into what I call the Transformed Teacher. And it's a blog, it's a podcast, it's a program, it's my Instagram handle. It's called the Transformed Teacher. It's just basically about transforming your life from the inside out as a teacher and a woman, so that you can find more your job in your life, be present for your family, and just really not feel the signs of burnout and dread, because I've been there, and I want to help other women who might be there to come to the other side where it feels a lot lighter and brighter. So that's basically what I do.
Well, that is so needed. You just hit like every insecurity that I think women and mothers and teachers have. And so I know Kim and I have added that book to our to read list, and we definitely have a lot of time right now, so I'll get that read in no time. And awesome. I've added your podcast to listen to. I'm very excited to know that you've got a podcast out there called The Transformed Teacher, you said?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. We'll be adding that to listen to.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So help us when if we're looking at a counselor who is all of a sudden going from meeting students face to face to all of a sudden we are needing to figure out how to have a whole group lesson or a small group or an individual counseling session, what sort of tools come to your mind first?
Well, one thing that I think is the best tool when it comes to facing this totally new territory that we're all in, the uncharted territory, like as you put it, the uncertainty and the just the fear. There are a lot of wonderful tools as far as technology, but I think what I'd like for counselors to remember, and you all probably are so good at this, and you're so good at telling other people to do this, but I think you are the most important tool, and taking care of yourself and getting yourself in that place of mental health, emotional health, and physical health before you even think about what you're going to do as far as helping your students and having those online meetings. Just remember that you are the most important thing, that it doesn't really matter. I mean, it probably matters because probably some are better than others, but when you are feeling strong, and this is going to be a time when your students are feeling so scared on different levels. Who knows what's going on at home with their parents and their parents' economic situations, and you making sure that you have filled your own cup up first before you even think about, okay, what's the technological tool that I'm going to use, and what do I need to do from here? Because you're so used to thinking about everybody else and serving them, but really take a few moments every day to put the focus on you and doing what makes you happy, going for a walk, getting some fresh air, eating foods that nourish your body, taking some time for prayer or meditation or whatever to just get yourself grounded and centered. Don't forget to do that, because I know that you're so good at taking care of everybody else, but don't forget to take care of yourself, because you the essence of you is the most important thing right now. That's what your student need.
That is so profound. Thank you.
Oh, good.
For all counselors for recognizing somebody outside of our field, saying, hey, stop, take care of yourself first. And I think that I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that.
Oh, you're so welcome.
We do want to help other people, but you're right. We've got to take care of ourselves to be able to help others.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, next, go ahead. I didn't mean
to
thank you.
I wanted to say that the first person who told me that as a teacher was the first guidance counselor that I worked with. Her name is Mitzi. She's in Greensboro, North Carolina at Weaver Academy. She's amazing. You guys would love her. I just know that from just meeting you all today. I just know she'd love you and the same. So I'm going to tell her all about this. Mitzi Graves. She's just an angel on earth. And I actually wrote about her in my book.
Good.
Yeah, you should have her on the podcast.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Because I wrote about her in my book because I had in the book, I kind of wrote about one of my worst moments as a teacher, one of the moments that I was just really like stressed out. And I didn't know what else to do. I was in tears, and I never cry in front of my students, but I couldn't hold it back. And I was in tears. I knew exactly who to call. I called her. I didn't call the principal. I didn't call another teacher. I called her. I said, I don't know who else to talk to. She got somebody to cover my class, and I went to her office and I said, I just need to work harder. I just need to plan better lessons. I just need to grade more papers. I need to give more. And I was already working like 50, 60 hours weeks. And she said, no, I don't think you need to do that. It sounds to me like you need to take better care of yourself. And she said it in a really loving way. And I was like, wow, what does that mean? I didn't even know what that meant. And it was a school counselor who was the first one who told me about teacher self-care, and so I just feel like you all are always giving. And I see this, the counselors that I work with, Nicole and Jose, his nickname is Dave, but they're just constantly there and giving. They're just giving to everyone, and they're always there. And I just want you all to remember that the essence of who you are, not what you do, is so crucial to your students. They love you so much. Just don't forget to love yourself.
Such a good reminder.
Yeah.
So self-care is something that we need to remember to be doing right now, and that is a challenge. But I mean, I always make the analogy of when you're on an airplane, they always tell you to put the oxygen mask on yourself first and then help others. But
Yeah.
I guess it's just the nature of an educator. We rush to help other people first.
Yes, totally.
So it's good. Sometimes we feel guilty, I think, having that self-care, but it's essential. And so to have that reminder from you, someone like Kim said, outside of our niche, to tell us, hey, don't forget, it's almost like it gives us permission. So thank you for giving us permission to take care of ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So step one is self-care. And then if we are guiding someone who is just wondering what to do right now, what would you say step two is?
Okay, step two is to remember the mindset. And we're always telling our students about the growth mindset, but don't forget to give yourself permission to have that growth mindset, because the fixed mindset is, I'm not good at technology. These stories that we tell ourselves, it's so overwhelming. There are too many choices. Everybody's doing different things, and I don't know which one is right for me. And I'm just going to give up because I don't even know how to manage all this. I'm just going to get overwhelmed. And remember to have that growth mindset that you might fail. I mean, you might try a new technological tool and it might blow up in your face, but you'll have learned something. And that happens in our classrooms all the time when we're trying new technology. As teachers, we do that all the time. We're always trying these new things, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but at least you learn something, and you can just give yourself grace and be gentle with yourself and realize, I'm growing and I have a gap here. I might have a gap in knowledge, but that's okay, because I can take a baby step to just grow a little bit in my knowledge. So have that mindset of the growth mindset instead of the fixed mindset, so that you can it's baby steps. It doesn't have to be a huge leap overnight, because nobody planned on this happening. We didn't even have a plan for this because no one ever saw this coming. So give yourself grace as you're moving to this new reality, and have the growth mindset. So that would be step two, in my opinion.
I love you, Meredith. This absolutely has been so overwhelming. You're right. There's no precedent set. We have no book, a guide there, unless we go back to 1918. We don't know.
Right.
We've not. So I have been overwhelmed. Even this morning when I'm getting so many emails from different entities, all social media, they're listing all of these different technologies that we can use. And I am that person that goes, that's too many. I don't know what to do, So I think a lot of people may be feeling that. You just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I haven't thought about
go ahead. Sorry, Laura.
I haven't thought about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, but you're right. We preach these things and we teach these things, but we forget to practice what we preach a lot of times. And so you are breaking it down and using our language, and I am like, I just want to wave a handkerchief and just yell preach. I'm so inspired right now.
I am too.
We're just soul sisters, the three of us. We didn't know it until today.
We didn't know it, but we needed you. We needed you counselors. And I think I'm so glad that we got to stay outside of our field, Laura. Because I think it's bringing in a fresh set of eyes that we needed.
Yeah.
Meredith, what would you say next? What next?
Well, the next thing I would say is, with that long list that you were just sharing, and I just want to say very quickly before I forget, because sometimes I suffer from ADD, and if I don't say it, I'll forget it. I don't know about you all, but
we call it unpacking while you remember. That's what we say to each other.
Okay.
I'm going to unpack this because I'm going to forget. Go ahead, unpack, Meredith.
I love it. This whole time that we have right now, you and I connecting right now, it wouldn't have been possible if this whole thing hadn't happened. I mean, so this is like another example of an opportunity made out of an obstacle. And this whole like virtual connection, it's really going to invigorate me so much, because we can't get out for connection with other people in real life. So like this technology is a gift. And so instead of looking at it as a burden, we can look at it as a big, an outlet. So totally. Thank you guys so much.
White handkerchief.
Yeah.
I'm going to get mine too. Yeah. So,
can you imagine this happening like 20 years ago, before we had all this technology? Can you imagine isolated?
Yes, it would suck.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have Netflix.
Oh, I can't. I don't even go there.
Yeah. So the next step that I would recommend is that long list that you were mentioning, which can be so overwhelming. Just pick one. Just pick one from that long list of all the resources that are being recommended to you right now. And honestly, I don't claim to be an expert in technology. I like to investigate all kinds of new technology. I'm pretty astute in some of the things, but I don't that's not my expertise. I mean, I love technology, but I know how that feels when you're like, oh my gosh, they just gave us this long list of things that we can try, and where do I start? Well, just pick one. Just pick one and experiment with it. Give it a good go. Give it 20 or 30 minutes and really dive into it and try to figure it out. And then ask for help when you can't figure it out on your own, because you probably can't always figure everything out on your own, and ask for help. And just don't say I've got to try everything that they're recommending, and I've got to go through the whole list and be an expert on every single one of these platforms. You don't have to be, because remember, it's about you. That's what your students want. Whatever vehicle works for you to get connected with your students, that's it. And that's all you need. So and even if you make a mistake, students love it when you make a mistake, because it shows that you're human, and it shows that you're willing to learn and fail, and that gives them the courage to do the same. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Yeah,
that's true. They love it whenever I tell them, okay guys, you are my guinea pigs today. You're my guinea pigs. We're trying this and it may not work, and at the end I want your feedback. And it's almost like it empowers them sometimes to say, hey, I liked it, or hey, I changed this, or whatever. So you're right, it is a good position for them to be in and for you to be in.
Yeah, totally. And I do have a few favorite tools that I can recommend.
That's what I was fixing to ask you, Meredith.
Okay.
In light of there are so many talking with you, what are some things that you would recommend that you have tried and true and you like?
Okay, so I know that that Zoom is what we're using right now. And Zoom is actually a little daunting to use when you first start out, because sometimes you have to have a password to join, or you have to have a user ID. But it's actually, once you get in the hang of it, it's really not that hard. Zoom is actually pretty user friendly. And there are lots of great tutorials out there for how to use Zoom. And if you've already used Zoom before, then you know that it's really great. You can see people, you can type messages in the chat box, people can raise their hand, you can mute people or unmute people, and be a really great way virtually with your students, one-on-one or in a group setting. You can have more than one people in a Zoom meeting. And I think right now they're offering it for free for educators or people in education. I think the CEO is offering Zoom for free. I think if we look into how to do that, I'm sure we can find something online, but I'm sorry, I don't have that right in front of me, but I saw that he was offering it for free. And I love Zoom. And then you could your session on Zoom so that you can save it on your computer and send out the replay to people who missed it or who couldn't attend. And then another one that I really love, if you're not already using it, is Google Classroom. And it's not just for teachers. You can post videos, you can post PDFs, you can post Google Docs that your students can edit. You can actually open up a Google Doc and have everybody participate one time, and commenting and adding to the conversation. And you can have all sorts of resources that you post inside Google Classroom. It's free for, you can just set up an account. I love Google Classroom. And then I also love, if you wanted to record some sort of informative session for parents or students, there's a website called ScreencastOMatic. And I love ScreencastOMatic. I think there is a small fee. It might be like $10 a year. I don't know if they're offering any specials right now, but I'll spell it out. It's ScreencastOMatic, ScreencastOMatic. And you can actually have your face in there while you're reading little PowerPoint so they can see you. And then you can sort of save that, post it to Vimeo or YouTube, and then your students can watch the replay of whatever informative session you wanted to give them. You could have like a PowerPoint with your face in there. You could have just your face. Those are three of my favorite resources. I think there are a lot more out there. I've heard of Loom, and I've heard of Screencastify, but I'm not as experienced with those formats, but I've heard good things about them. But those are really my go-tos, the three that I just mentioned. So
Okay, let's unpack some of those.
Okay.
Let's talk about Google Classroom for a second, because
Okay.
I hear a lot of people talk about Google Classroom. When you think about a
Mhm.
school counselor who has maybe 300 or more students, how would you recommend setting up a Google Classroom in that?
Okay. As far as I know, unless I'm wrong, but as far as I know from my experience, unless things have changed, you can set up as many classes as you want to have.
Okay.
So you could set it up, like you could set up a class of student last names A through B, students with the last names C through D. You could set it up 9th graders or 7th graders or whatever. You could set it up in different categories that you want. And then what they give you for each of those little classrooms is an ID. And you can email the ID to all the students and say, this is how you join the classroom. You could send them personal invitations. You could just, you could have it on your, you could send an email out. You could
Put it on our
during
Facebook
a live,
page, maybe.
yeah, you could put it on a Facebook page. Absolutely. Yeah. And I just was reminded of another resource, Edmodo. If anybody has ever heard of Edmodo, that's a good one too. It's kind of like Facebook for schools, but again, I don't want to overwhelm you all, but
No.
Edmodo is great.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can have that for Google Classroom. You can set it up in whatever category you want. Like you could, whatever works for you, by grade level, by last name, and then they could join that way if you've got a lot of students. So, yeah.
Okay. And then within that Google Classroom, and Kim, you may want to jump in on this. When you think about having like, okay, 5th grade Google Classroom for school counselors, what sort of things would you put in that Google Classroom?
Well, you can also invite parents and guardians to join as well within Google Classroom. That's another feature that's great. So the kinds of things you can put in there, really, it's totally up to you. You can post YouTube videos, links to SchoolTube videos or YouTube videos. You could post PDFs. You could post links to podcasts for teenagers or adolescents or elementary schoolers. You could post activities for parents who are stuck at home with their kids and they don't know what to do. You could post different things maybe that you find on Pinterest for helping students during this time. You can really just, you can post as little or as much as you want within Google Classroom. And students can comment on the resources. They can ask you private questions or questions for the whole group. It's really, the sky's the limit with what you can post within Google Classroom. It's really it's very user friendly too. It's pretty straightforward. Once you log in, you see exactly what's there and you just scroll down. You don't have to wade through a bunch of stuff. It's pretty user friendly.
Okay.
So yeah.
I use Google Classroom with my teachers when I am posting
Cool.
assignments, or not really assignments, but
Mhm.
it is assignments. It's some things that they can do with their class or whatever. So
Mhm.
having used it in that capacity, thinking about using it a little bit different now. So thank you for that idea. You talked about the ScreencastOMatic, and one of the things that Laura and I both have done during this time is create a lesson. So I'm excited to look into that because we do have a PowerPoint lesson, both of us. So we actually have 2 lessons. She created one, I created one, but we're going to do those for our students. We have 2 lessons. So I'm excited about putting those lessons on the ScreencastOMatic, and it will, I'm just trying to think how we're going to do this. So I'm thinking for our school, we'll probably post the link. Would that be a good idea, to post the link for the YouTube that it creates? Something like that? I guess we'll delve into that.
Yeah, you can, when you do the ScreencastOMatic, you can hit record, and then it will save it and it will publish it to YouTube or Vimeo, whatever you want. And then you can just save that link and share it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I know that our principal does a weekly newsletter that he sends out on email. So I'm thinking some of you may have trouble, counselors. How do I get all the students' emails if you don't have those? In my case, in a lot of schools, they don't want you back in the school. They've cleaned them.
Oh.
So some of the resources that we might have, of course, we have our computer and we can get into iNow and all those things, but there may already be a created list. You might not want to have to reinvent the wheel if somebody out there already that you can get a hold of already has your school list to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to ask you, just in your own district, I know in our district, we closed our schools, was it last Monday? So we were a full week out. So I just want to kind of get an idea of what your situation looks like. We've been out a full week, and I am happy to say our system did not jump on and say, okay, now we want you to do this, this, and this. I think the mindset of get acclimated to, wrap your brain around this is where we're at now. And even for the students, we're giving out work, but it's, but for school counselors, we weren't given any directive yet. That probably is coming. But in your district, or how does that look? How long have you been out of school? What are they telling you in Colorado or in your district?
Well, at first, we got out on Friday, March 13th. That was the last day for everybody, for students and teachers. And at first they were saying, we're going to have 3 weeks out. And of course, now they're saying we're going to be out until at least April 17th. And of course, the buzz is that it's going to be maybe even longer for a lot of us. We don't know. But right now they are saying, please, in my school, they're saying, please have such and such amount of what we call product grades. I don't know if you all do that, but we did this in North Carolina as well. Like a product grade is worth 80% of the student's grade. So they're saying, please have, such and such amount of product grades so that students have something to work on. But there was a lot of preparation. The system that our school uses is called Schoology. And it's kind of, if you've ever heard of Moodle or something, it's kind of like that, like a big portal.
Yes.
And so it was just basically like uploading assignments, getting the work uploaded. But like you were saying, like also getting acclimated to this new reality and giving yourself a little bit of time and giving the students a little bit of time instead of bombarding everybody. So, but yeah, that's what it looks like here.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Meredith. You've given us some. Just to recap, take care of ourselves as school counselors. Have a growth mindset. It's so good to the physician heal yourself and think about our own terminology and our own in our own world. And so I haven't thought about it in those terms, and ask for help on this technology and pick, as you say, one or two and try it. We're waiting for clearer directives. We are going to participate this afternoon in a webinar that from ASCA, which is going to give us some directives on what legally we can do. We have to worry about FERPA, as everyone does. So when we get to the point where what exactly is this going to look like, you've given us some great ideas. Anything to add to that, Laura?
I'm just so excited. It's like I kind of fell in that category of, there is so much being thrown out there, and I keep seeing all of these, okay, I'm using this and I'm using this and I'm using this, and I'm thinking, I don't even know what to do right now. And so I feel like you have broken it down for us, and I'm excited now to get out there and do the ScreencastOMatic and post that to our school Facebook page, just for whoever can watch it whenever they can watch it. So I don't know, you've inspired me in more ways than one.
And
So
we're excited to read your book, and it's Captured Fireflies. And we can post a link to that, but you can go on Amazon.
Yes.
Amazon and just Capturing Fireflies, Meredith Newlin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Thank you all so much for having me. You've inspired me just as much. Thank you.
And shout out to Mitzi. Thank heavens for our great school counselors.
Yes. Amazing.
Meredith, take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope that you have a great rest of the day.
Thanks. You too. Stay healthy and all that. And
you too.
Positive. We got this. We're going to get through this.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Welcome back to evening session.
Thank you.
Shade, if you will.
I will.
We had a break in which we discovered that somebody had made a big mistake.
I did. Probably the biggest mistake of my life. Huh?
Oh, that's funny. Today, you mean?
Yeah. If you are one of the people who got really excited whenever you visited our website, or visit our website, and we talked about the guide in our last podcast episode, and really got you hyped up about this guide that was going to walk you through and make you feel productive during this time that we have. Well, I'm sorry. I posted the wrong guide that actually said, need more time on your hands? No, we don't need more time on our hands. We have time on our hands.
That was very untimely to send the time on your hands. But now they have to.
And it's just rubbing salt in the wound. And I'm sorry for rubbing salt in the wound. I'm sorry.
Okay. But on what?
It should be fixed now. So if you tell a counselor friend that maybe didn't download it, you can say, hey, these idiots got it fixed. Sorry, this idiot got it fixed.
Thank you.
And now you can go download the real thing. And
You have redeemed yourself by bringing Meredith on today.
Yes. Okay.
She was such a breath of fresh air
She
compared
was.
to you. And I don't even know how to tell you right now, I'm breaking up with you.
It was coming.
I'm on the phone with Meredith.
I'm out. She's in. I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I don't either. She's wonderful. I wouldn't blame you. She's wonderful.
It's a race. I'm gonna call her first.
Where's my phone? It's just I never have my phone. I'm that generation that still.
Don't I know it? Don't I know it?
Oh, you're such a ageist. Is that a word?
It is.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm using it. So my pick of the week, if I may,
You may.
is it's not even really a pick, but it's just a shout out to all of my heroes in the medical profession.
Aw.
So I have a newfound respect for the people who are in the front line of this, who are getting up and they're going to work and they're showing up. And while we're protecting, they're in the front lines of this. And so I have a high respect for our doctors and nurses and respiratory therapists and the people in the hospital who are keeping it clean and working and serving food and all those things. So that is my pick of the week.
That is a very good pick and very special to you and timely, not just for this situation going on, but what you have gone through recently with Clinton.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we're so glad that he is better and y'all are home and hunkered down, protecting.
You're hunkered down like Fort Knox.
Yeah. Well, I feel really bad about my pick of the week, but I'm going to go ahead and share.
Tell me, Laura, what's your pick of the week?
Not near as touching as your pick of the week, but in honor of the way that we are doing our podcast right now and adjusting to this new normal, we're using Zoom with multiple people. My pick of the week was that horrible Zoom call where the girl forgets that she's on video and goes to the bathroom. And if you haven't seen it, I feel guilty sharing it, but I'll post it. Gosh, I can't even imagine. Kim, how embarrassed would I be if that had happened?
You would be embarrassed, but I would think it was, if it were me, I would think it was hilarious.
Sharing it because
I would be sharing it out to others. If it brings a little levity to our times, I would say, you know what? I'm going to the bathroom right now. Because I'm with her. Let's just share some levity in this moment of seriousness that we find ourselves.
You have to understand that Kim and I are completely different. When I walk into a room, I want to blend in. I in no way want to stand out whatsoever. But Kim will fake a fall just to get a little bit more attention placed on herself.
Anything. If she has to drag me off the table, get down,
Whatever.
Get you to speak. I am the person that, as I've told you at church, when they ask for testimonies, okay, I am going to give my testimony, and my husband will say, Kim, only if the Lord leads. You don't have to get up and give a testimony every time, but I will give a testimony, and then the preacher will say, don't miss a blessing. And I will go, I don't want to miss a blessing, so I will stand up again.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, pull me down. So yes, I have to say, now what are my reasonings for what I do? Is it to be seen or is it for a good reason? I know. I got to search my soul. You are a good person.
How we're paired together, I'll never know, because we are opposites in that respect. I don't want the limelight. You love it.
That's so true.
All right, cat pick. What's your cat pick?
My cat pick, and let me just say, in honor of Kenny Rogers, who you know I met.
Yes.
So for those of you who may not know, Kenny Rogers died. I'm not laughing about that. I'm laughing about me meeting him. I met him in a alley with a couple of other friends, we were had gone to an award show in Atlanta or something, and so we're in an alley, and he passes me. And if you'll know, in those latter years, he had some facial work, and he did not quite look. You didn't notice?
No.
He didn't quite look the same, but he passed me, and I went several steps, and I just froze, and I went, "The gambler?" And the girlfriends that were with me were like, "What are you talking about?" And I turned around, and he turns around, and he said, "Yes." I wish I had that picture to share with you guys, but it was a really, you think this is a bad look? It was a really bad look for me. And I think that's been a few years back. But so Kenny Roger, in honor of that, my cat pick is the country music cat, that's up kind of in the sky, that's got the country music hat on. And he takes a deep breath, and then he belts into a country music song. It's like, I hate country music, but I'm going to sing this, West Virginia. There you go. That's my cat pick.
All right.
And yours?
My cat pick is a picture of a cat wearing a surgical mask to stay protected during these times. And to our listeners, to our people that are listening and not watching this, we're sorry that we do a cat pick and we have to explain to you what it looks like. It's what we do. It makes us laugh and it brings us joy. So it's funny.
Don't apologize.
I won't apologize for it.
Okay. Well, we hope that this was an informative podcast. Oh no, she's signaling. You can't see, but she's signaling that she's not done talking. What else, Laura?
Hey,
you
don't you have
add?
a tip, trick, or technique that we want to share? Didn't you prepare that?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't have that.
Well, here's the one we're going to share collectively.
I am going to make up one. So go.
We are going to share this collectively. We have a lesson for you that we would love for you to go download. It is free. It addresses fear, but it's not specific to the coronavirus issue.
It's with anxiety for any reason.
Yeah, it's just ways to cope with fear in general. So it is a freebie. Go to our Teachers Pay Teachers store and download that. It is our gift to you. Have it, share it, do what you want with it, but use it.
And we have a lesson that is also will be on TPT, and it is ideas for students. It's a fun little PowerPoint, ideas for students who are home. Some things like setting a routine and getting their work done, being kind to others, and it's kind of because I think first day of spring is Thursday. Am I right or wrong?
I think it was last week.
So it's spring into action. Like during these times, what can we do to spring into action? So a couple of lessons that they can pull and look at, and we're gonna be doing these lessons for our students. So.
Yes, we're gonna use
social media.
We're gonna use the techniques that Meredith just taught us.
ScreencastOMatic. ScreencastOMatic. No.
Yeah.
It's ScreencastOMatic. Okay. So yeah, we looked into that in this in between time, and it looks really cool. So
yeah.
All right.
Now,
right, so
no, just a little housekeeping in that subscribe and review our podcast. We've seen those of you who have favorited it, and we thank you. And join our Facebook group. That's where we share some of these announcements and stuff. Tag us on Instagram with the great things that you're doing. Okay.
All right.
Have a good week.
Have a great week.